Hey friends, welcome to Construction Mastery. In this video, we're going to have a look at all things cash flow. And cash flow refers to the movement of cash into or out of a business or project. It is usually measured during a specified finite period of time. And cash flow is important because it allows the employer to gain an understanding of their financial commitment over the duration of the project, when they're likely to spend money and maybe when they need to get funding. It also acts as a check against valuations. It can give an early indication of financial difficulties, and it helps a company remain solvent by predicting when they will have to pay money out, when they're expecting money in, which will highlight early if they're going to be out of pocket, meaning that they can actually do something about it. Finally, cash flow is important because it helps clients to plan expenditure. And then once you have the cash flow, that measurement of cash flow can be used for many reasons too. So they can be used to determine a project's rate of return or value, determine problems with a business's liquidity. They can be used as an alternative measure of a business's profits. Cash flow can be used to evaluate the quality of income generated by accrual accounting. They can be used to evaluate the risks within a financial product. For example, matching cash requirements, evaluating default risks, or reinvesting requirements, etc. And for construction firms, when dealing with cash flow, this involves managing incoming funds to procure the material, pay the salaries, complete projects, and support other day-to-day operations. You guys agree, right? And the key is to ensure cash is flowing into the business fast enough to cover the construction supply chain and to keep costs low enough so cash isn't tied up in one area of the business. And funds need to be available in real time to cover expenditures as needed. But as we all know, construction cash flow can be very, very problematic. Cash flow can be an obstacle for the construction supply chain. If there isn't enough positive cash flow, the lack of consistent funds could cause an issue for payment. Let us actually have a look at some of the common cash flow problems within construction. This is, really interesting information, and it will help you understand real life situations. So we have taking on multiple projects and overshooting cash capacity. We've got failing to set up a payment schedule and or initial payment before starting work. We've got failing to fund an entire project due to late or non-payment. We've got mismanaging or not even tracking change orders. Those 4 points. Awesome. So now we know the real basics of cash flow. Let us now explore some of the components of a construction cash flow. And this is kind of like a bird's eye view. And this is kind of the way I looked at cash flow when I was commercial lead. And I looked at it through the 5 different lenses. And I saw these 5 lenses as some of the best ways to manage cash flow for construction projects. And they are planning, tracking, risk management, budgeting, and resource management. So let's have a look at these 5 in a tiny bit more detail so you can see what I was thinking on my project and how I ran them. And this is, of course, a very brief outline, but nonetheless is a nice way to think about it in a bird's eye kind of view. So number 1, planning, which meant mapping out the path for the construction project. And this includes identifying key milestones, dependencies, and other constraints, setting baselines for scope, budget, and timeline, and assigning tasks. Number 2, tracking. And this involved comparing the estimates from the planning stage to the actuals regularly and accurately. And this included reviewing actual expenses versus planned budget, actual schedule versus planned timeline, and updating stakeholders of status changes. In summary, this is getting really good at cost value reconciliation process, the CVR process. Okay, number 3, we've got risk management. And this involved mitigating cost obstacles that occurred during the construction project. And what I mean by this is that I would quickly identify possible risks to the budget and potential impact, identify possible solutions and a response plan, and continue to monitor and control the impact. In summary, maintaining and reviewing the risk register well and speaking to my colleagues often to identify any new risks. And the key here is to really love solving problems. And as Elon Musk always says, you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems you solve. And risk is so critical in cash flow management. Learn the skills to excel at this and you will thank yourself. Number 4, budgeting, and I would track the overall financial performance for the project, and this includes managing project expenses and comparing cost to budget, providing early detection and warning of potential overages, and forecasting revenue and profit opportunities. This is similar to tracking and getting really good at CVR management. Number 5, resource management. And finally, this involves supporting staffing needs. I tracked each person's workload and availability and assigned them to projects accordingly. I would also forecast staffing needs to make proactive hiring decisions. And now we know more about the cash flow and its uses, we can now review how to deal with producing a cash flow forecast. And this is really interesting again. The cash flow projection sets out when costs will be incurred and how much they will amount to during the life of a project. It is important to predict cash flow as early as possible in order to ensure that an appropriate level of funding is in place and that suitable drawdown facilities are available. Until the main contractor has been appointed, cash flow projections are likely to be based only on agreed fee payment schedules for consultants and a simple division of the construction costs over the likely construction period, or perhaps an allocation of construction costs over an S-curve distribution. So cash flow projections only become reliable when 3 things happen. Number 1, once the main contractor has been appointed. Number 2, the master program has been prepared. And number 3, some form of a payment schedule has been agreed. Also, something to note is that cash flow projections can be affected by the need for the early purchase of long lead-in items, or by items that the client may wish to purchase that are outside of the main contract, such as furniture or equipment. Okay, and that wraps up this video. I hope, as always, this served you guys well on your way to becoming construction masters. It's really important. And please also remember that the faster you learn, the faster you earn. Any questions, please email me, hilan@construction-mastery.com, or direct message me. I'm always available to help. Thanks, guys.